Hello and good morning to you. This is Dr. Bill Bledsoe bringing you another glorious morning session of your prayers. You praying aloud in the privacy of your own home, your heartfelt concerns, your walk with God, creating a walk with God that you can only dream of. It's amazing if you just pray every day and create your own walk with God. Nobody can teach you. I can't teach you, but I can begin the prayers, but you've got to do it, not me. And you've got to be dedicated to do it. So it's there. I offer this every day because it's changed my life, and I hope that it'll change yours too. So we begin with my prayer. God, I thank you for this method of prayer of each of us praying aloud our heartfelt concerns, each of us healing our bodies with stretching, and each of us healing our minds, our spirits, and our souls with prayer. I thank the generations that have brought this to us, the house of Abraham, the house of David, Jesus, his mother Mary, Father Joseph, and Virginia Ellen, who finally wrote the book, Sacred Heart Yoga, so anybody could practice this ancient method of prayer anytime they wanted in the privacy of their own homes. Amen. Now, if you'll repeat after me, we're going to say the Sacred Heart Yoga morning prayer. Beloved God, I devote this practice this day to the evolution of my soul, to the fulfillment of my destiny, in service to your love, O God. And I allow myself to be purified of fear. As I rejoice in your kingdom of heaven and your love, O God. And I give thanks for these blessings, these moments that I can share with my mind, my body, my spirit, and my soul in oneness with your love, O God. And so it is. Amen. Om. Now we're going to, it's called clear our energy fields, but what we're really doing is trying to eliminate our fears, our worries. Fear and worry prevents us from being able to love. And so this first thing, we do a movement with our right arm. It goes straight up above our heads and it goes over to the 3 o'clock position to our right, to our right knee, left knee, 9 o'clock position to our left, and then back up, making a big arc up to the 12 o'clock position once again. As we do this motion, repeat after me. Beloved God, I clear my energy field of anyone or anything standing within. I bless them and I send them into your love, O God. Om. Now, the rest of the prayers, you need to just repeat what I begin with. I'll say, and here our prayers begin with, and you repeat the words. It'll be a few words, and then you must finish it with your own heartfelt concerns. That's the way prayer is effective. It's not effective if it's something rote that you don't even, repeat the same words over and over and over. No, prayer is your personal walk with God. Not me, not mine, has nothing to do with me. So here we take our right hands and we put them over our hearts and we ask our God, how may we serve you? And the answer comes to me in usually no more than one or two words. Sometimes it's a heartfelt feeling of something that I just really need to accomplish. A lot of times, well, no, every now and then it'll be nothing at all. It's rare, but every now and then it'll be nothing at all. And that doesn't matter. No matter what it is, whatever comes to you, you repeat it through the rest of your prayers during the morning, and you'll understand by the time you're done with your morning prayers. So here we take our right hand over our hearts, and our prayers begin with, God, how may I serve you this day? Om. Now we're going to stand up and announce out loud what came to us. We do this by standing straight and tall. And here our prayers begin with, our palms are forward, and here our prayers begin with, God, my intention to serve you this day is to... Om. Now we're going to sing the word Amen 3 times. Saying the word Amen 3 times is how an oath was sealed between two people or between person and God in Aramaic and Jesus's tongue. So we're going to sing it aloud 3 times. It's whatever tune is right for you, whatever pitch, whatever works for you, what's right in your heart. Amen. 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 Now we're going to sit back down on our mats and lay down on our backs. get into what's called resting position, which is our laying on our backs, our arms at our sides, our legs outstretched. And here we pull our right knee up to our chest, holding it there with our arms and our hands. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we take our left foot, our right foot over to our left hand, pull it over our left knee, let our right knee fall down to the mat, and our right arm gets stretched up straight above our heads, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we switch hands. We take our right foot in our right hand, holding it down near our pelvis. Our left arm gets extended this time above our heads, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we point our right foot up towards the heavens, holding it there with our right hand. And our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we let our right foot fall out to the right side. Our arms get extended out to the sides from our shoulders, down to the mat, palms up. We're opening our pelvis as wide as we can, our right leg out to the right side. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for. Om. Now we take our right foot and we turn our heads to the right, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat. We take our right foot straight up over across our bodies, over to the left side, down to the mat. And our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I love you and I thank you for Om. Now we go back to resting position, legs outstretched, arms at our sides. And we pull our left knee up to our chest, holding it there with our arms and our hands. Our right arm gets extended straight above our heads down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for Om. Now we take our left foot and our right hand over to our right thigh, let our left knee fall down to the mat, and our left arm gets stretched out straight above our heads down to the mat, and our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for Om. Now we hold our left foot with our left hand, holding it down near our pelvis. Our right arm gets extended straight above our heads down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you and I thank you for Om. Now we take our left foot pointed up towards the heavens, holding it with our left hand, and our right arm goes straight above our head, stretched out down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for all. Now we let our left leg fall out to the left side. Our arms get extended straight out to the sides, down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for all. Now we take our heads and turn it to the left, and we take our left foot straight up towards the heavens, over across our bodies, down to the mat, keeping our shoulders down flat on the mat. And our prayers begin with, God, my true mother, I love you, and I thank you for all. Now we go down, go back to the mat. And our arms are outstretched, our legs are outstretched, arms at our sides, resting position. And this time we're going to, for a second time, release our fears to God, and it's called surrendering our fears. So here we take our hands under our sit bones and lean forward on our elbows, trying to touch the tops of our heads down to the mat. And here our prayers begin with, God, to your love, I surrender. Om. Now we take our left hand up towards the heavens, reaching for the heavens, and let it fall over to the right side of our bodies, down to the mat. Yeah. And our
We're stretching our left shoulder and left back. We take our right hand halfway between our left shoulder and left elbow and stretch it over farther. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I choose to. Om. Now we take our right hand up to the heavens. Let it fall over to the left side of our bodies. And we take our left hand halfway between our right shoulder, right elbow, stretching our backs and shoulder over a little farther. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I can. Om. Now we go back to resting position and we pull both feet up to our pelvis, soles of our feet down on the mat. We let our knees fall out to the sides and our soles of our feet kind of go together. But we form a triangle below our bodies. This is considered a tabernacle, a house of God. We form a second tabernacle, house of God, over our hearts by putting our hands in prayer position over our hearts, extending them up 2/3 of the way up to the heavens. And in this tabernacle of our hearts, this house of God, we find God's beautiful chalice. And it's brimming over, it's bubbling over with any gift we could ever desire, want, or need in service, using in service to God's love. A word of warning, if we use God's gifts instead of using them to share God's love, if we use them for self-gratification or we use them for making money, we're going to lose them. They won't stay there long. They're only for using them in service to spreading God's love to other people and other animals. So here our prayers begin with, God, I drink from your chalice, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands down to the mat, right, still in prayer position, right above the tops of our heads. Let our elbows fall out to the sides, down to the mat. And here we formed a tabernacle, a house of God over our entire bodies. And so our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for healing my mind, my body, my spirit, my soul. Om. Now we take our hands and hold them in prayer position for the next 4 prayers. We'll move them to, our heads, our lips, our foreheads, our lips, our hearts, and over our bellies. As we we keep our hands in one position, but our prayers here are to thank God and acknowledge God's gifts and thank God for them. And so this is called the Anointing Series. And we repeat all 4 prayers a second time. And that's why it's called a series. So take our thumbs up to our foreheads, and our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our thumbs down to our lips, and our prayers begin with, God, I bless, and I will only use them in service to your love, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands down over our hearts in prayer position. And here our prayers begin with, God, my true Father, I thank you for all your gifts of Om. Now we point our fingers down into our abdomens. And here we extend them out. This is a motion this time. We extend them out to right above our pelvis. Our arms are extended straight like the arms of a clock, and then we move them counterclockwise up towards the heavens, the 12 o'clock position, then down to the mat above our heads at the 9 o'clock position. As we do this motion, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my mind, my body, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts of Om. Om. Now we start over and we take our thumbs back to our foreheads and our prayers begin with, God, I anoint your gifts to me of Om. Now our thumbs go down to our lips and our prayers begin with, God, I bless, and I will only use them in service to your love, your gifts to me of Om. Now we take our hands down over our hearts and our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for your gifts to me of Om. Now we point our fingers down into our abdomens, extend them out to the 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock positions. As we do this, our prayers begin with, God, I fill my body, my mind, my spirit, and my soul with your gifts to me of Om. Now we go back to resting position and we take our right ankle over our left ankle, our right wrist over our left wrist, over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I thank you for always protecting me, for keeping me safe. Now we roll over on our sides, push ourselves back up into sitting position using our arms and our hands. And we extend our right leg straight out in front of us. Our left foot goes across our right knee. Our right arm holds our left knee in place, up towards our chest. Our left arm goes behind our backs for support. And we twist our heads, our shoulders, and our backs to the left. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I desire to. Om. Now we extend our left leg straight out in front of us. Our right foot goes over across our left knee. Our right arm goes behind our backs. And we twist our heads, our shoulders, and our backs to the right. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I will. Om. Now we get back on we get up, excuse me, on our knees. Put our hands in prayer position over our hearts. And here our prayers begin with, God, I truly thank you for Om. Now we take our hands down, we form a tabernacle with our hands by putting the tips of our fingers together, the tips of our thumbs together. We put them down on the mat. Then we're going to lean over in child's pose and put our foreheads into this tabernacle. As we do this, we're just going to take a moment to truly feel God's love all around us. It's throughout the whole world. Feel God's love penetrating our bodies, every cell in our bodies, healing through God's love.
Om. Now we go back to sitting position. This time we let our right leg go out to the right side. Our left foot comes up to the inside of our right thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I will become. Om. Now we switch positions. Our left leg goes out to the left side. Our right foot comes up to the inside of our left thigh. And here our prayers begin with, God, through your love, I am. Om. Now we go back to sitting position. And this time our hands are on our knees, palms up, thumbs touching our middle two fingers, forming like tiny tabernacles with our hands. And then we keep our back straight and we bow forward at our pelvis, keeping our back straight. As we do this, our prayers begin with, I bow to you, God, for healing my body, healing my mind, healing my spirit, healing my soul. Om. Now we sit up straight and tall a second time, bowing forward at our pelvis, keeping our back straight. And here our prayers begin with, I bow to you, your love, O God, my true Father, my true Mother. Om. Now we feel on the left and right side of our pelvis where we're grounded down to the mat. So on the left side of our pelvis, we feel God's white light of love entering our bodies, of nurturing. God's white light fills our legs to the tips of our toes. It fills our abdomens, every cell and every organ with God's love and white light. comes up and fills our hearts, and with every heartbeat, our hearts can pump God's love to every cell in our bodies. God's wonderful white light comes up into our lungs, and with every breath, we get to circulate God's love through our hearts and bloodstreams. God's white light goes and fills our arms to the tips of our fingers. It comes up through our throats and into our heads. Our minds get filled with the peace and love of God's nurturing, God's healing. The white light goes out the tops of our heads like this giant blast of light up high into the sky, and it expands out and lights up the whole world in all directions, all the way around the world. And it finally rains down God's white light of love on every living creature there is. Now we feel on the right side of our pelvis God's beautiful blue light of truth, of knowing, of wisdom, of discernment. God's blue light fills every cell in our legs to the tips of our toes. It comes up through our abdomens, filling every cell in our abdomens with truth, God's truth. Comes up to our hearts and our lungs, filling every cell in our hearts and our lungs. So with every heartbeat and every breath, we fill our bodies with God's blue light of truth. And comes up and fills our arms to the tips of our fingers, comes up into our throats and fills our minds, our being with God's truth, with certainty. God's blue light of truth goes out and blasts out the tops of our heads and expands out like this incredible blue light, circling the whole earth and raining down God's truth on every living creature. Now we can step up into the light above our heads, stay as long as we want, ask anything we want. The one thing we should always ask before leaving is, God, what do I need to know this day?